Welcome or welcome back, students. This is Ayesha Khan, your UGC NET English faculty at Super Coaching by Testbook. Welcome to another session wherein we are going to talk about a very important author. Now, this author becomes important for a very important reason. Recently, she was awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature. Now, any author who has been awarded any prize, right? But any author who has been awarded any prize recently becomes very important from your UGC NET perspective. So, there could be a potential question on this author. The author's name is Han Kang. The author's name is Han Kang. H-E-N, Han, K-A-N-G, Kang, Han Kang. And we're going to begin this session with a very beautiful quote from one of her novels. The novel is called Human Acts, and the quote reads, "Why are we walking in the dark? Let's go over there where the flowers are blooming." This is a beautiful quote written by Han Kang from her novel Human Acts. Now, who is Han Kang? Han Kang happens to be a writer who comes from Korea. Okay? She's a Korean writer and she was born in the year 1970. So she's a South Korean writer, to be more specific, right? And besides having won the prestigious Nobel Prize, she has also been awarded with the International Booker Prize for Fiction. Please remember, Booker Prize for Fiction is a separate category. International Booker Prize for Fiction is the award that is given to any work of literature that is written in any language besides English, and then that language, that story, that novel has been translated into English, and then that novel is awarded the prize, right? So in the year 2016, Han Kang's novel was awarded the International Booker Prize for Fiction, and then in 2024, that is this particular year, she has also been awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature. Please remember, Han Kang, South Korean writer, born in the year 1970, winner of two prestigious prizes. One of them is a literary prize named Booker Prize, the other one is a Nobel Prize in Literature. Now, how did she start her career? What did she start her career with? When she began writing, when she started writing, she did not begin with fiction. Although now she's primarily known for fiction, for novels, for short stories, she began her writing career with 5 poems. These 5 poems were published in a quarterly. The quarterly was called Literature and Society. The publication year was 1993. Please remember, this was the first time Han Kang was ever published or featured in any literary publication. But she began her fiction writing career with a short story. The short story was published in the year 1994, and the title was The Scarlet Anchor. The question that they could ask you possibly in the coming cycle is, what was the first short story published by Han Kang? What was the first fiction publication by Han Kang? But a proper fiction book, a complete full-length fiction book ever published by this writer is a short story collection. The collection was called A Love for Yosu. A Love for Yosu is a short story collection that was published in the year 1995. These are the early works of writing of Han Kang. Han Kang, who now happens to be a very established, popularly known writer, but this is how she began her writing career. An interesting fact about her is that in the year 2007, Han Kang published a book called A Song to Sing Calmly, and this particular book was accompanied by a music album wherein she sang herself. She herself sang in this music album. The book was called A Song to Sing, A Song to Sing Calmly, and the publication year was 2007. These are the early works of writing. These are the earliest publications or early writings or early works of Han Kang. Now that we've talked about the early works, let's also talk about her major work, the work that got her the International Booker Prize. The book was called The Vegetarian. The Vegetarian was the first novel by Han Kang that was translated into English language, because obviously this novel was originally written in her Korean, in her native language, which happens to be Korean language. Okay? Now, the translated work, that is the translated version of this particular novel, was awarded the International Booker Prize in the year 2016, and both the author, which is Han Kang, and the translator, which is Deborah Smith, both of them were awarded this prize. Okay? This became the first Korean novel to be nominated for the prize, and also the first Korean novel to win the International Booker Prize. Now, besides this novel, besides The Vegetarian, there's another novel by Han Kang. The title is The White Book. This particular novel was also nominated for the International Booker Prize, although this did not go on to win the Booker, right? Han Kang's third novel, The White Book, was also shortlisted for the International Booker Prize in the year 2016. ठीक है 2018 I'm sorry 2016 में The Vegetarian was awarded the International Booker Prize. 2 years later, another novel by her, which is called The White Book, was shortlisted for the International Booker Prize. What is the novel all about? The White Book. The White Book is actually an autobiographical novel, right? You might find elements of the author's own life in the novel. ठीक है An autobiographical novel, which is The White Book, it centers on the loss of author's older sister, a baby who had died 2 hours after her birth. Okay, this is your The White Book. Now that we've talked about the major novel of Han Kang, let's talk about the recent event in which she was awarded the Nobel Prize. So, the 2024 Nobel Prize for Literature has been awarded to Han Kang, and the Swedish Academy claimed that she was being awarded this prize for her intense poetic prose that confronts historical traumas and exposes the fragility, the weakness of human life, thus making her the first South Asian writer to be awarded the prize. Okay? This is Han Kang. Now, another important thing here is the film or adaptations, or you could say, to be more precise, the screen adaptations of her works. The screen adaptations of Han Kang's works. Okay? Because what happens is in UGC NET, they have also asked you questions about films or film adaptations, about screen adaptations of books. So 2 of her works have been translated, have been made into screen adaptation, that is into films. Okay? One of them is Baby Buddha, which is actually a novella, and the other one is called The Vegetarian, of course the International Booker Prize winning novel. Okay? The Vegetarian was made into a movie that was released in 2009. The director was called Lim Woo Seong. The same director also adapted Baby Buddha into a screenplay, okay? And the screen adaptation was titled Scars. So the title was changed from Baby Buddha to Scars when it went from page to screen. Please remember the 2 titles which have been adapted for films or television are Baby Buddha and The Vegetarian. Okay? These are the screen adaptations of Han Kang's works. Now we move to her major work, which is called The Vegetarian. It was a Korean language novel. Of course, it was a Korean language novel. Okay? Then was translated into English. Originally published in the year 2007, translated into English by Devra Smith in 2015. The very next year, that is in 2016, it was awarded the Man Booker International Prize, and the novel has been divided into 3 parts. So there are 3 divisions in this novel. The 3 divisions are The Vegetarian, the first one, The Mongolian Mark, which is the second one, and Flaming Trees, which is the third one. Now, where did the story or the inspiration of the story come from? The inspiration of this story actually is coming from another work by the same author, right? There was a short story written by her in the year 1997. The short story was called The Fruit of My Woman, okay? Or My Woman's Fruit, because this is a translated title. It has been variously translated as My Woman's Fruit or The Fruit of My Woman. Now, this short story became the inspiration for the plot that becomes central in the novel, The Vegetarian. What is the setting of this novel? This novel is set in Seoul, the city of Seoul, okay, modern day Seoul. And the protagonist is named Yong Hai. So, we have a woman named Yong Hai, and Yong Hai is the protagonist of the novel The Vegetarian by Han Kang. Now, what is the story about, right? What is the plot about? Yong Hai, this protagonist, she's a woman who is actually a homemaker, but besides being a homemaker, she's also a graphic designer. And she suddenly develops an aversion to non-vegetarian food. What happens is, it tells the story of Yong Hai, a homemaker who suddenly decides to stop eating meat after she witnesses, she has a series of dreams involving images of animals being slaughtered. Okay? This is why she develops an aversion. She develops an aversion to non-vegetarian food. Okay? Now, like I said, the story has been divided into 3 parts: The Vegetarian, Mongolian Mark, and Flaming Trees, and these three parts have different narrators or different narrative perspectives. The first part has been narrated by the protagonist herself, who is, the protagonist's husband, Yeon Hae's husband. The second part has been narrated from a third person perspective. Similarly, the third part has also been narrated from a third person perspective. Okay, this is the novel The Vegetarian for you. Let's also look at some major works by this writer. There is Love in Yosu. Now you know Love in Yosu was a short story collection. Okay, the first proper book on fiction by Han Kang. The year was 1995. Black Deer. Then we have My Woman's Fruits. See, My Woman's Fruits is that short story. Or The Fruits of My Woman is that short story that would later become the inspiration for her major novel, The Vegetarian, that would be published in 2007 in Korean language. And then in 2015, this will be published with its English translation. Then in 2016, it will be awarded the International Booker Prize. The International Booker Prize. The novel is called The Vegetarian. After The Vegetarian, we come to the Greek, The Wind Blows Go. Greek lessons, also translated by the same translator, who is Deborah Smith. We have Human Acts. This is the novel with whose quote. The quote of this novel was the starting of the session. Remember the opening quote? Also translated by Deborah Smith in 2016. And finally, The White Book. Remember the book that has autobiographical elements. Remember the novel that has autobiographical elements. This novel also, like I said, was shortlisted. It did not win the Booker, but it was shortlisted for the International Booker. This was also translated by the same translator, whose name is Deborah Smith. And Human Acts happens to be the novel, the quote of which I discussed when I started this session. Remember the quote again? Let's go back to the quote. The quote said, why are we walking in dark? Let's go over there where the flowers are blooming. This is a quote from the novel is called Human Acts, which is written by who? Which is written by Han Kang, but translated by Deborah Smith, who has translated multiple works by the same author. Okay? With this, we come to the end of the session. I would like to end the session with a beautiful quote. This quote becomes important not because it has been written by this writer, but because this writer was also inspired by this quote, right? This line has been authored by a poet. This line of poetry has been written by the Korean modernist poet whose name is Yi Sang. Yi Sang. Yi Sang in his poem wrote, I believe that humans should be plants. Look at the quote. The quote says, I believe that humans should be plants. And this quote was actually one of the inspirations that prompted Han Kang to write her novel, The Vegetarian. Therefore, this quote becomes very, very important, right? This is a quote that she often quotes herself, and this is a quote that actually was the inspiration for her own novel. Okay? With this, we come to the end of the session. Please remember, more such topics are discussed in your paid classes or your foundation batch classes, also in your booster course classes. Now, what is a booster course, students? For those of you who are preparing for your December cycle, that's a crash course or a booster course that we have for UGC NET aspirants. Okay? This course is meant to target your December 2024 cycle, but besides getting this course in live plus recorded mode, we have live classes every day at 10:30. Okay, we have live classes at 10:30, but if you miss the live classes, you can also attend the recorded classes. Besides getting this course in live plus recorded mode, in which you get the books on theory and MCQs, plus you also get the PDF notes of all the lectures of the class, you also get access to paper 1 as well. Additionally, not only the booster course also includes a complete access, a full access to the foundation course, ठीक है? चलिए, with that we will end the class. Those of you who want to get enrolled in the course, you can use my coupon code, which is Ayesha K. You can use my coupon code, which is Ayesha K. okay, you get an extra discount on your course, ठीक है. You can also connect with me on my Telegram channel, because Telegram channel पे जितनी भी आपकी free classes हैं उसके links आ जाते हैं. The Telegram channel is Ayesha Ma'am Testbook, or you can simply scan this code, this QR, and this will redirect you to the Telegram channel. Telegram channel पे आपकी जितनी भी free classes होती हैं, that is your YouTube and master class, दोनों के आपको notes मिलते हैं on the Telegram channel. Telegram channel पे आपको सारी notifications मिलती हैं जब class start होने वाली होती हैं. That let me also remind you of the timings of the free classes. आपकी जो free classes हैं उनकी timings क्या रहती हैं? Your free classes take place on the YouTube channel at 12 PM on Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. इसमें हम previous year questions solve करते हैं. Then your another set of free classes take place on the app of Testbook. ठीक है, ये भी आपकी free classes हैं, लेकिन ये YouTube की जगह कहाँ होती हैं? Testbook के ऐप पर होती हैं. These are called your master classes. We have these classes Tuesday to Saturday. That means entire week. ठीक है. उसके अलावा there's another channel आपका UGC Net टेक्स्ट बुक का. दैट्स अ इंग्लिश चैनल जहाँ पे सारा जितना भी आपको कंटेंट डिलीवर होता है, टीचिंग क्लासेस होती हैं, ऑल ऑफ देम आर इन इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज, राइट. यू कैन सब्सक्राइब टू द चैनल इज UGC नेट क्लासेस इन इंग्लिश लिटरेचर, इंग्लिश टेक्स्ट बुक, ठीक है. वंस यू फाइंड दिस चैनल, यहाँ पर भी आपको क्लासेस मिल जाएंगी एट 6 PM. वेंसडे एंड फ्राइडेज को वी रन सम सॉर्ट ऑफ लिटरेरी सीरीज, ठीक है. इनिशियली वी हैड अ सीरीज ऑन लिटरेरी लेजेंड्स, जिसमें हमने जो मेजर इंपॉर्टेंट राइटर्स हैं वो डिस्कस किए थे. काफ़ी सारे राइटर्स की आपको प्लेलिस्ट वहाँ मिल जाएगी. राइट नाउ वी आर रनिंग अनदर लिटरेरी सीरीज विच इज़ कॉल्ड लिटरेरी टर्म्स एंड लिटरेरी डिवाइसेस. So we've been covering literary terms and devices in that particular class, ठीक है. You can go subscribe to this as well, ठीक है. I think this will be all for today's session. Thank you for joining in. Please remember to cover Han Kang when you go to appear in your next exam for UGC NET English, ठीक है. Have a very good day, students.